writing checks, we are writing Ghana's story, and together we will fund Ghana's future. Thank you.
If you were inspired by the story of how a $1 million outturn morphed into $60 million, please put your hands together for that story. When I started this program, I made a point about this institution, which is a legacy that is living beyond the years. And today is falling on the lap of an amazing person. Let's put our hands together for the Vice Chancellor, Professor Kweku Mauto Mensah, who's joined us today. If you came here 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it will be clear to you what the transformation at this institution is. And every year that I come here, there's something different. And that's what the previous speaker spoke about. So please, one more time for the UPSC. What did I just listen to? That investors must see beyond the numbers. That investors, when they come into your path, can change the trajectory. That investment is not just a transaction, but it's a seed of hope. And I think listening to the story of $1 million to $60 million, it's something that must be documented and studied as how to change the narrative across Africa. I know you all have questions, and the questions will come. My first question is, how do I get the money? I'm sure that's also your question. But before all of that, let's invite our next speaker. How do I introduce him? Maybe I just do it in 2 lines. I'm introducing a man who hoped, a man who drove a vision, a man who understood the pulse of the African youth, the man who took the risk, the man who decided to invest in young people. Beyond the investment as an entrepreneur, this is a man who says the young people in this country should not go through the same pain that I went through many years ago. And he's kicked off what he's calling the Food Bank Project, which is providing free food to many Ghanaians across the country. Please, let's put our hands together for that. A man who, when asked, how is he going to sustain the things that he's doing, he says, I'm boldly putting down 90% of my profit. What comes to me as a person, I'm committing that into taking care of individuals across the country. And he always says, I'm not stopping there. Ladies and gentlemen, he's one who doesn't like a lot of accolades, so I'll stop here. Please, may we be upstanding as we welcome the entrepreneur, the founder, and a man who's built many of these businesses, Mr. Richard Ni Amakwe.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished guests, entrepreneurs, partners, and fellow builders of our nation's future. Today marks the beginning of a movement. When we started Quick Angels years ago, our vision was very simple: to prove that Ghanaian entrepreneurs, when supported in the right way, can build companies that can compete anywhere in the world. And I'm proud to say that The vision worked. From the likes of Oya Microcredit to Pizza Man, Chicken Man, to Sankofa, which is the Gold Coast Foods, to Burger King, to King Ranch, to Pinkberry, and many more. We've seen small dreams become national brands, and national brands take steps towards global relevance. Each of these businesses started with a spark, but what turned that spark into fire was structure, discipline, and scale. That's what this next chapter is all about. The Scale Up Fund is a bridge from potential to power, from survivor to success. One Ghanaian misconception that we have defeated successfully at Quick Angels over the years is that it's possible for Ghanaians who are not related by blood and are not friends, not even from the same tribe, not of the same age group, or even schoolmates, to come together, pool resources together, and build great businesses without fighting each other or destroying their business. There is one thing I have found to be synonymous with all successful businesses in advanced economies. They are owned by many people, not by an individual. By doing so, they are able to raise significant capital through the contributions of many, which allows them to compete better. When companies are owned by multiple, diverse own 20% of the companies they founded. But their small stakes in these businesses are enough to make them billionaires and some of the richest people he founded. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, he owns only 13.6% of that company. Bill Gates, Microsoft, he owns only 1% of that company. Warren Buffett, the president of Berkshire Hathaway, he owns only 14.3% of that company. Larry Page, Alphabet or Google, he owns, with his partner, founder, they own only 3% of that company. Tim Cook, who founded with his partner Apple, his late partner, Tim Cook owns 0.02% of Apple. And 0.02, for you the mathematicians here, you know that is 0%. But it will interest you to know that this 0.02% alone makes him a billionaire. That's 0.02% of that company makes him a billionaire. So as the saying goes, owning 1% of greatness is better than owning 100% of nothing. Hence, I encourage all entrepreneurs across the length and breadth of our country to open up their businesses to attract equity investors, both locally and internationally. Scale up their operations and guarantee sustainable growth over the long term. These examples tell us that as smart entrepreneurs, we need to attract other people's resources into our businesses by relinquishing some of our stake in the businesses we founded in return for significant capital that will guarantee success. We are putting 300 million Ghana cedis behind one belief today. Ghana doesn't lack talent or ideas. What we often lack is the capital and the system to scale. You see, starting a business is one journey. Scaling it is another. Starting is about courage. Scaling is about structure. And that's where too many great entrepreneurs fall short. Not because they don't work hard, but because they grow without systems, without mentorship, and without capital alignment. The Scale Up Fund was built to fix that. It's designed for those who have already taken the first step. The entrepreneurs who have proven they can start, but now need help to grow right. It's a fund for execution. Every one of you represents the new face of Ghanaian enterprise, bold, capable, and ready to scale. But let me be honest with you. Scaling up is about more than money. It's about mindset. It's about discipline. It's about understanding that business is not built for today's excitement, but for tomorrow's endurance. Some of the entrepreneurs we've worked with, true quick angels, faced failures before success. Some started small, were rejected multiple times, and yet never stopped improving, because growth is about resilience. And that's the spirit we are looking for in the Scale Up Fund. Those who don't make excuses, those who adapt, and those who believe that every obstacle is a test of vision. My journey has taught me something very simple, that there is no shortcut to building something that lasts. You cannot skip the process of growth and expect to sustain success. You must go through it, learn, adjust, build, and scale. The entrepreneurs who understand this will lead Ghana's transformation. That's why we built this fund. Not to give out handouts, but to create a structure that rewards seriousness, systems, and strategy. To give access to mentorship, governance, and accountability. When I look across this room, I see builders. I see those who have started something and kept it alive. That alone is an achievement. But now, we are here to help you build it bigger. Let me leave you with this thought. Every successful economy was built on one thing: entrepreneurs who refuse to stay small. It's time for Ghana to scale. It's time for your business to scale. And it's time for all of us to rise, guided by structure, by discipline, and by deliberate growth. The Scale Up Fund is about investing in belief, resilience, and the Ghanaian dream. So let us build together. Let us scale together. Let us win together.
With the same debates that we've had over the years, 1% of greatness versus the 100% of nothing. The choice is yours to make. One of the things that got my attention is there's no shortcut to getting to the destination. Most importantly for me, your presence here is not about handouts. It's about partnership for growth. And the final thing, which for me would be one that all of us must carry, is we must refuse to remain small. We must refuse to remain small. And if that makes sense to you, let's put our hands together for the president of the RNAQ Holdings and RNAQ Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, the next segment of the program, I would invite a man who leads a business that's a beneficiary of the RNAQ holding and Quick Angel investment, Mr. Richard Mensah. He will join me in moderating a session that will tease out some of the essence of you being a business person, how to deal with the capital you receive, how to manage your business, how to manage the shortfalls, and how to take yourself through an entire process. As it comes, may I also invite the team to help me move this podium from here. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Richie Mensah as he comes. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jesse Ejapon, and I work as an external consultant for the RNAQ Holdings, and I'm super excited to guide you all the way through. Please, let's put our hands together one more time.
Hi, everyone. Are you okay if I sit here? I don't like to reveal my height, so I always like to sit. Okay, so this part is to give you guys the real life experience. You know, there's a lot of theory out there, a lot of gurus who are telling you how to make it, showing you the way, but they don't have the experience to back it up. So as you are here looking to be the next entrepreneurs that are going to scale up, we thought it fit to bring some people who understand what it means to work with Quick Angels and to scale up. So let me start by inviting Mr. Christian Boache, but we all call him Chris B. Next up, let me invite Nana Owusu Odum of Gold Coast Food Group, handling Sankofa natural spices. Next, let me invite Kingsley Amankwa, a big lead at Burger King and Pinkberry, Ghana. Oh, actually, I did something wrong. I should have started ladies first, but it's not too late. So please help me bring up Grace and Cancer of King Ranch. Hello, my bosses. How are we doing?
We are good. I am good, thank you.
Okay, so this is just going to be a quick conversation. Thankfully, you all practice this every day of your lives, so this is not something that is new to you. But we need to show people what it actually means to scale up, what it actually means to become bigger than what your initial dream was, and what it's like to work with Quick Angels, to work with RNAQ Holdings, to take things to the next level. Okay, so let me start with you. Since I got it wrong the first time, ladies first. So Grace, what does scaling mean to you? Is it just about growth, or is it building something bigger than your initial dream?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Richie. Actually, scaling up is not just about growth. It's not just about something that lasts. It's actually both. Because just as it said, scale up fund. You can have your vision, your dreams, your aspirations, but if you don't have the funding in the first place, how are you going to have something that lasts, something that will grow, something that is exceptional? So basically, having something that lasts is expected from you who has the ideas, the vision to be able to go along with Quick Angels, who is funding you, to be able to go through their structure, their discipline, being willing to do what you don't do usually, to be able to be exceptional and succeed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you guys, you can clap louder than that. Kingsley, let me come to you next. So when did you realize that scaling up was about building systems and not just about hard work?
Every business grows organically, right? But there's always a roadblock somewhere. You can work hard, you can do whatever you want. You know there's demand for whatever product you are offering. But without investment and partnership with systems and structure, it's going to be very difficult to scale. And this is where Quick Angels and RNAQ Holdings come into the picture. I mean, since we met them, Kobe is my business partner, he said it all. From a revenue of $1 million over the years, across about 5 years now, to about 60 million revenue. That spans across 6 different countries, including Ghana, on the continent. So this has been a global scale, not only in Ghana.
Okay, wonderful. I think you've mentioned Burger King Pinkberry, but you guys haven't mentioned the Oya microcredit fully for them to understand. Can you touch a bit on that, on what it's doing on the African continent?
So Oya is the same as Bill's microcredit in Ghana, but in other countries it's called Oya. So it's the same model, what you guys know to be Bills, right? And everybody knows in Ghana is very successful in its sector. I mean, if not one of the best. I mean, it's competing with all these top financial institutions, right? And the same success has been implemented in all these other countries.
Nice. Okay. Nana, so I was wowed the first time I came to the Sankofa factory, because as a consumer of the product, I imagined, oh, spices is a small scale thing. But when I came, I saw how large that it has become right now, and even some of the future products that you're about to launch. So my question is, what one system do you think you were able to put in place to start scaling things up on that level?
All right. So I wouldn't say it's one system. I would say it's a collection of things. The most important thing is understanding what we needed to do, and having the structures, and having the right culture, and getting the right people aligned with the culture and the vision. So I think it's a combination of all these, and yeah, that is more or less what is leading to where we are going.
So when you say culture, give me an example. I think most entrepreneurs don't understand what it means to build a business culture. So give me an example.
All right, so mostly people pay a lot of attention to the product you're selling or your market and your customers, well and good. But culture is basically the way things are done within the organization. From how you work, how you treat customers, how the people behave, how you understand the entire system and the flow of things. So I believe that culture is essential. It's at the heart of it. And it's basically the way things are done. And as one strategist once said, Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So basically, you can have all the strategy, you can have all the systems, you can have everything you think is good. When you get culture wrong, you get everything wrong. So basically, yeah.
Chris B, Mr. Over 100 branches. So how were you able to put together a team that, as you scaled up, it didn't affect the culture and the standards of the service that you provide?
Well, that has been a very tough, challenge, because I would say we got our team right from the early days. So I would use our very first store as an example. All the staff we had in our very first location are now a part of the top management. Either they are head of departments or they are heading a particular region, because they see how myself and Ebenezer were doing our operations, and they were learning right from us. So we have this culture where we barely get an external person to work with us in certain areas of our business, because as my colleague said, culture. We have a special way of doing things, and when you don't belong to the team, you come in and you feel odd, because our team can operate as late as 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and we don't even feel like we are tired or we need to sleep. You can call any of the first batch of people that I mentioned earlier around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., they will answer the call and they won't even complain, like the ordinary person will be like, okay, but it's 1 a.m., why are you calling me? So doing what we do constantly over time, and with the people that we work with watching us, they tend to copy that work attitude, and that is how we are able to build our teams. So almost, in fact, everyone who is in the top managerial position is someone who has worked with us over years, understands the culture, and just wants to tap in and grow with us. Yeah, so that is how we get our team.
Nice one. So you've been working with Quick Angels for a number of years now. How has this affected your view on capital, on structures, on systems?
That is for me, right?
Yes, for you.
It has changed everything.
Okay.
So let's assume my thought on that was Toyota Corolla. Now it has changed it into, let's say, a G63. So you can't even trace anything from the old to the new. It's a completely new system. In fact, working with Quick Angels, Mr. Quay mentioned discipline, open-mindedness. You learn. I mean, that is how best I can put it. You learn. Because there were so many things that years ago I thought were right. And after engaging them from time to time, I realized that no, a lot that I thought I knew was right was wrong. And you get to appreciate it the more you work through it. Yeah.
Nice one. Nana, I'm back to you again. So this is one thing, even I suffered with this for a while. A lot of founders and business owners are afraid of investors because they're afraid of losing control. So how has your journey been with having investors, and what do you have to say about that fear?
Well, first of all, I think the thought of control, respectfully, is ridiculous, because I don't really understand what it means. Control means responsibility. Now, let me give you an example with our lives, right? If you don't take care of your life, you don't eat well, you don't live well, you're gonna lose your life. You're gonna lose control of your life. And so when people think control, I think they're just thinking, well, I don't want to be responsible, I don't want to take care of this thing. In any case, once you take someone's money, you have a responsibility towards a business and the person's money. And so control doesn't play any role. You've got to take yourself out and look at things from the outside. That how do I ensure this thing succeeds? How do I ensure that this person that has invested in me gets the required returns on investment? And you have to take care of the business. That's what matters. And like Mr. Quay said, it's not about how much or what percentage you have. It's about the value of the enterprise. If you grow the value, the little you have multiplies. If the enterprise fails, you lose control. So it's neither here nor there. You can go solo and still lose the business. You can go with somebody, and grow the business multiples. And then you have control over what is rightfully yours. So I think it's just a mindset which needs to change towards being responsible and growing the enterprise. And then control appears somewhere, somehow, to your benefit.
Nice. So founders need to change from wanting control to taking responsibility. That's lovely. Grace, let me come to you. So everybody here who's pitching is ready to scale, but that's their opinion. As someone who's been able to scale, what do you think are the signs that shows that a business is now ready for that growth?
I strongly believe in this principle that you need to have a renewed mind, a mind that is interested in building wealth. And if you're interested in building wealth in the shortest possible time, you can choose to go fast, but actually the best way is to go far. And to go far, you need to go with someone. And we are so privileged to have President Niamakwe, who is willing to fund with the help of quick angels to help you with the proper structures, to be able to maximize your vision, your abilities, to get the best result and to build the wealth that you have been dreaming of. So, to your question again, what is
What is the sign
What is
that
the
shows
sign?
your business is ready to scale?
Is basically a renewed mind, your ability and the mental strength to get into corporate governance, a structured system, to be able to help with your partner who has funded you, to be disciplined enough to get the best result, because it's the best result that would eventually get you the wealth you have been dreaming about. For instance, when you come to King Ranch, we had a board meeting. We're planning to scale up from 100 acres to 500 acres. And we were given all sort of timelines. We need to do this, we need to do this. I remember Mr. President just stepped in and he was like, wait, how many excavators and dozers do you need to prepare 1 acre of land? We're like, okay, we need about 3 days. So if you are supposed to get 500 acres now, it's just a multiplying effect. So meaning instead of using about 5 excavators, now you need to go in for about 20 excavators. It's not just a one-mind show or an individual. That's why you need a structure and a system where all great minds meet. And trust me, with appropriate funding, nothing is impossible. To my honorable people who are here, who are interested and have come out clear that you need the funding, I can clearly tell you it's a safe haven to get your dream alive into a wealth generator. Thank you.
Thank you. Kingsley, I think you've worked with brands that are foreign and introduced it into this system, as well as also exporting Ghanaian brands internationally. But Ghana is a very unique place, let me say it like that. So what challenges have you had to overcome in Ghana while scaling up?
Well, everybody knows doing business in Ghana is very difficult, right? And I'll be practical here. When we started Pinkberry, it was doing well from like the first store, right? And we started expanding, but this was very slow, like year on year. You are using your same cash flow, your revenue to expand, right? And if you continue like this, this could take you, I mean, God knows how long, right? I mean, you have to do every new store every year, right? So in 5 years, you have 5 stores. So it was quite difficult. I mean, you want a store to rent. The landlord is asking you for a 5-year payment in advance. I mean, these people are charging something around 2,000 US dollars. And if you are paying this much for rent, I mean, what money are you using to fund a business or to expand a business? So it's quite challenging. It's quite challenging. It's very difficult to access funds also in this side of the world, right? So I think with the help of Quick Angels, all these problems, right, we're able to overcome them and expand rapidly. So I think funding is a great challenge. It's a major challenge here. Yeah.
Okay. Nana, so we all know scaling up comes with a lot of difficulties, especially the expectation, growing the team. So when you started and all this pressure came on Sankofa while you were scaling up, how were you able to maneuver through it?
All right, so I think when the pressure starts mounting, you've always have to ask yourself, why did you start this in the first place? And most importantly, you've got to find really good people and have really good systems in place and have very good governance structure. It takes pressure off you because then you begin to look at the thing from a football coach point of view to actually a player, and helps you to see things for what they are. Because clearly when you are in the middle of things, you get all sort of thinking and things coming up to you, but once you're able to have the right people in place, the right structure, and the right processes, and you look at things from where you should see them, it eases the stress or the pressure because you see things for what they are. And I think another important thing also is having a partner that is not just a passive investor, but an active investor. A passive investor simply puts money into your business and goes to bed. An active investor is actually interested in your business and what you do. And being able to bounce ideas off another person, have conversations where both parties have an interest, then it takes a lot of pressure off you because otherwise you would have to be figuring things out by yourself. Now you can pick a phone and call your partner and say, guy, these are the challenges I'm having, what do you think? And seeing things from other perspectives helps you to put things in proper perspective. And that is how I have been handling or dealing with the pressure of growth.
Nice. Chris B, one thing I always say I must commend you and the entire team at Pizza Man Chicken Man for is the fact that now when I travel anywhere, I know I can order kesame and it will taste the same whether I'm in Cape Coast or Kumasi or in Achimota. When you started opening so many branches and scaling up, what did it take to maintain that consistency and not lose the level at every single branch?
That is very tough. I think we've had several conversations around this, and if I'm to rate my own self on a scale of 1 to 10, I wouldn't give myself a 10. This is not a political event. All of us here are entrepreneurs, and I have to be very honest with you. If you want the truth, you are at the right place. I'll give myself an 8. And I have another 2 steps to grow and get things the way I really want it to be. But even with we achieving this 8 that I'm talking about, it all goes down to this systems, structures. Because initially you asked the question that what does it mean to scale up? It's about creating something that is beyond your physical efforts, your human capacity. You are just one. Let's say I want to visit all the stores and cook in the stores in the same day. how many stores will I be able to even visit?
Yeah.
Not to talk of those outside Accra. By the time you get to Kumasi, the day has ended. So it's about structures. Doing more, and then scaling up is more or less like it's a marathon of disciplined evolution. You always have to evolve. You always have to evolve, because what works for 10 people might not work for 100. Once you get to 100, you have to evolve and then adapt to a new strategy. So it has been a constant process of evolution. You do this today, it works because it's just in Accra. The next moment you go to Kumasi, because you have 2 different locations which are hours apart, you'd have to revise your strategy. The next moment you are out of Accra, Kumasi, you are now in Aflau, revise strategy. So it has been a constant revision of structures and systems, constantly looking for bugs to fix, constantly training the people you work with, making sure, you can't just give out an instruction and expect it to be executed. In this part of our continent, it is currently unavailable. So then that means that you don't just give out the instruction. You give out the instruction, you follow up, you do assessment, you check results, you go again. And trust me, it will take months, sometimes years, to get the team to operate just the way you want it. So it's a constant evolution of discipline. You just have to keep going. Yeah.
Grace, let me ask a difficult question. What is one truth that you were not ready for when you wanted to scale up? What has hit you the hardest when you started scaling up?
I would say basically you must be willing, and I mean willing, to lose yourself in all round to be able to prosper in the union, the partnership you have decided to venture in. You should not have the mind that, oh, it is a union, a partnership, so I'm expecting my partner to rather come and do what you are supposed to do. You have a responsibility. That's why my brothers in wealth generation have rightly said, you must be disciplined, you must be focused, you must be truthful to the union. Because you wake up, you are supposed to meet certain KPIs, and you are like, oh, I have a funeral to go for 3 days. So you are leaving a company worth like $10 million for a funeral. I believe you are not ready. I believe you are entrepreneurs yourself, would you be okay, even if your own worker comes to you that, oh, boss, you should understand, I have to go for this 1 week program. You will not even take it lightly. How much someone who has gone, like, we know what goes on in Ghana, nobody invests and is willing to invest in you. Then you wake up one day and you go like, oh, Quick Angels, I'll not be available. I heard there's some Dubai gig. I have to go and come right now. Who are you leaving the company for? You must be willing to sacrifice all, to gain all in the journey you are willing to go far to get the wealth you are dreaming about. And trust me, the best blessing that has ever occurred to me is to partner with Quick Angels. President Ni Amakwe, trust me, is the best thing that would ever occur to anybody, because his sole agenda and purpose is to ensure that whatever union he is with you prospers in a way that it will last a lifetime, even for generations, not just about you. So is it a bad thing or something that has hit me? As much as it looks that way, for me, it's a blessing in disguise, because the more you are willing to lose yourself for something great, something positive, I believe that not the sky is the limit. It's the union that will be your limit. Thank you.
So, in other words, work-life balance doesn't exist in scaling up.
Not at all. Not at all.
When Mr. Lamte is calling you at 2 a.m., if you like, don't pick.
So true.
So, Nana, you mentioned earlier on that one thing that keeps you going is the why. Now, for every entrepreneur who started a small company, it's very easy to keep the passion alive and keep going with the why. But when it gets to this level, the level of no sleeping for 10 years consistently, no life, and all these problems that they don't know they're about to meet yet, how do you keep the why alive?
Okay, so I think first of all, the why must be meaningful. It must be meaningful to you. And people start business for different reasons. But if it's not meaningful to you and your why for starting the business is shallow, it's just like anything else. You'll be hopping from one place to the other, changing your mind every time you are faced with a challenge because you really don't know why you are doing this. I think the most important thing is